Good day, everyone. Today, we are tasked to report the curriculum implementation. The curriculum implementation is now giving life to written materials. Objectives. Students are expected to identify the role of a teachers as a curriculum implementers, discuss curriculum implementations as a change process, and determine and explain the different models of curriculum implementation.
Implementation as a process of putting an agreed plan, decision, proposal, idea, or policy into effect. Implementation, an essential part of curriculum development, brings into reality anticipated changes. Simply put, curriculum activity is change activity. Curriculum implementation includes the provision of organized assistance to staff in order to ensure that the newly developed curriculum, the most powerful instructional strategies, are actually delivered at the classroom level. Curriculum implementation is now giving life to written materials. To do this, there is need of another actor, the learners. No curriculum will succeed without the learners. Curriculum implementation refers to how teachers deliver instruction and assessment through the use of specified resources provided in a curriculum. Curriculum implementation, like the resource materials and facilities, the teacher, the school environment, culture and ideology, instructional supervision and assessment.
To ensure the quality of education, schools should be actively involved in curriculum development and implementation. Curriculum development involves the following steps: identifying the learning needs of the children, the issue, problem, or need is identified, or the issue is to what. Setting priorities in these learning needs for curriculum development, characteristics and needs for learners, which is the target audience or the who. Searching and retrieving resources from within and outside the school. Designing curriculum programs, changes intended for learners, intended outcomes or objectives, or what the learners will be able to do. And implementing curriculum programs. The important and relevant content is the what, or the methods to accomplish intended outcomes, or the how. Evaluating the effectiveness of curriculum programs. Evaluation strategies for methods, content, and intended outcomes, what works, and lastly, making adaptations to curriculum programs.
Concepts of curriculum implementation. Marsh and Stafford also highlight three dimensions of curriculum concept. First is the explicit that the curriculum includes not only syllabi or listing of contents, but also a detailed analysis of other elements such as aims and objectives, learning experiences, and evaluation, as well as recommendations for interrelating them for optimal effect. Second is the curriculum comprises planned or intended learning, calling attention to unexpected situations which necessarily may occur in the classroom practices. Third is the curriculum and instruction are inextricable. Lovat and Smith rightly contend that curriculum is part of teaching, not separate from it. Therefore, the most agreed basic notion of the curriculum is that it refers to a plan for learning. This concept of curriculum as limits itself to the core of all definitions, permitting all sorts of elaborations for specific educational levels, contexts, and representations. In discussing this curriculum concept, Marsh and Stafford argues that curriculum is an interrelated set of plans and experiences which a student completes under the guidance of the school.
Without doubt, the most important person in the curriculum implementation process is the teacher, with their knowledge, experiences, and competencies. Teachers are the central to any curriculum development effort. Better teachers support better learning because they are the most knowledgeable about the practice of teaching and are responsible for introducing the curriculum in the classroom. If another party has already developed the curriculum, the teachers have to make an effort to know and understand it. So, teachers also influence curriculum implementation. What is changed in the context of curriculum? Change is defined as a process of development or modifications in the curriculum to improve or adapt it to a new circumstances or priorities, making the curriculum different in some way to give it to a new position or directions, alteration to its philosophies by way of its aims and objectives, reviewing the content included, revising its methods, and rethinking its evaluator procedures.
The Kurt-Lewin's field analysis model examines the balance of power and determining who should be doing the decision-making in an organization. It is a powerful method of gaining a comprehensive overview of the different forces acting on a potential organizational change issue and for assessing their source and strength. Have you ever had that conversation with colleagues about where to dine for lunch? You and a few others want to try the new Thai place, but your coworker and a few others want to go to this same old sandwich shop you've been going for years. Well, Kurt Lewin's force field analysis change model describes a similar situation. The first mode, field analysis, is a method to investigate the balance of power, identify the key players involved in decision making, identify who is for and who is against change, and identify ways to influence those against change.
Force field analysis guide. First, define the problem. Identify the nature of the current situation that is unacceptable and those that need modification. Second, define the objective of change. Determine the desired situation. Third, identify the driving forces. Identify the factors that support change and the strengths of these forces. Fourth, identify the restraining forces, determining the factors that resist proposed change. And lastly, develop the comprehensive change strategy. Strengthen the driving forces by adding a driving force by reducing the restraining forces.
Categories of curriculum change. First is substitution. The current curriculum will be replaced or substituted by a new one. For example, is changing an old book to an entirely new one. Second is alteration. In alteration, there is a minor change to the current or existing curriculum. For example, instead of using a graphing paper for mathematics teaching, this can be altered by using a graphing paper. Third is restructuring. Building a new structure would mean major change or modification in the school system, degree program, or educational system. For example, is using an integrated curriculum for the whole school for K-12 requires the primary and secondary levels to work as a team. Fourth is perturbation. These are changes that are disruptive, but teachers have to adjust to them within a fairly short time. For example, if the principal changes the time schedule because there is a need to catch up with the national testing time, the teacher has to shorten schedule to accommodate unplanned extracurricular activities. Fifth is the value orientation. This classification will respond to shift in the emphasis that the teacher provides which are not within the mission or vision of the school or vice versa. For example, when new teachers who are recruited in religious give emphasis on academics and forget the formation of values or faith, they need a curriculum value orientation. Institutionalization, a process of curriculum change, a process leading to the stage at which an innovation may be said to have become a built-in or accepted part of school's curriculum. Essentially, by institutionalization, we mean the way in which changes in a system become stabilized and lasting. Simply put, institutionalization is the process of building in changes in a lasting way so that they continue as stable routine aspects of a school's life after the formal change effort is over.
Now we discuss the 5 models of curriculum implementation. First is the ORC model, or the overcoming resistance to change. This model rests on the assumption that the success or otherwise of curriculum implementation primarily depends on the impact the developer make on the users of curriculum such as teachers, students, and the society in general. If we desire change, then we must address people's misgivings, their misapprehension, and other such related factors. Organizational development or the OD model. Top-down approach or the vertical organization is stressed on the organization culture. Implementation is an ongoing interactive process. The assumption of concern-based adoption model or the CVA is change is personal, stress is on the school culture. The type of change process of CVA is empirical change strategy, plan change strategy. The assumptions of system models in which the organization is composed of parts, units, and departments, linkages between people and groups. Implementations consist of corrective actions. And lastly, the educational change model, in which the assumption is the successful change involves need, clarity, some complexity, and quality of programs, and the type of change process is rational change strategy. That ends our report. And before we close this presentation, we would like to share these quotes from Ben Sweetland. We cannot hold a torch to light another's path without brightening our own. Thank you for listening. I, Wilhelm C. Peralta, and my partner, Anna May Pungtilan.